Chapter 7. Lance. I'm moving through the airport like a ghost. People give me angry glares as they walk around me, and I'm sure to have my sobriety questioned before I make it home. At this point, I don't care. I've been up literally all night with my 3 new friends and my wife, my mate. It still seems so unreal. I double check my ticket before finding an empty seat near my gate and go over everything all over again. I keep telling myself that the more I repeat it, the more it'll make sense. Hasn't worked yet, but I'm determined to wrap my mind around this. I'm mated to a wolf. An actual has fur and 4 legs and howls at the moon wolf. An actual hunts every few nights of the week on 4 legs wolf. But not just any regular old wolf in the forest, no. That would be silly. I made it to a wolf from outer space. One who shifts into a human with eyes that sometimes shine gold because she's a wolf. One who left her planet and her pack to join her friends and look for a better life. Who's friends with a dragon and 2 lizard men who are also from outer space. Aliens. Aliens are real, and they're here, walking around like everyone else, and I'm mated to one. I turn to look over my shoulders. I know it's silly, but it feels like classified information that I'm going to get arrested just for knowing, for shouting about it in my head. How did the FBI and CIA agents hold it all in? Chunk it. At least, that's what Max told me. Chunk the new information into pieces and only deal with a bit at a time. But finding out your new mate is from way out of town isn't exactly chunkable. I take a deep breath anyway and try to move my thoughts along. Max said that he and 29 other aliens were sent here to wait for their planet's burn cycle, and that all the aliens are looking forward to trying to find mates while they're here. They've been pumped with different injections to allow them to shift to blend in with humans, and they've even been outfitted with things like the translator chip that allows her and her friends to speak with me. Georgia explained that she was the runt of her pack, and given the opportunity, she winged it with Max and the twins instead. She also told me I was pronouncing Max's name wrong, but after quite a few tries, he told me it was okay to move on. It seemed like there was more to that story, and Frank tried to explain it, but Max said it would have been too much information for one night. Georgia promised to explain more to me later. What she made very clear was that we are now mated, and that because I bit her, she can feel my emotions through the mating link. Apparently, both mates have to accept the bond before it becomes official, and I did so by biting her. I take a moment just to soak that in. I've never bitten anyone before, no matter how good things felt. It's just not normally my thing. So having bitten her at the moment without thought, it feels like this truly is fate and a sign that I'm really meant to be with Georgia, with no chance to second guess or mess it up. And to be honest, she's been nothing but a joy to be around. She's funny, kind, inquisitive, and she enjoys the cold weather like I do. She's the type of person I can be myself around, be vulnerable and honest with. I won't have to hide the fact that I'm well off behind the struggling artist facade and can just chase my passion freely. Of course, I'll have to introduce her to my parents in baby steps, but I can easily see Georgia and me together. It feels good. This entire ordeal is wild and unbelievable, almost like it's too good to be true. That someone in the world, or universe rather, aligns so perfectly with me that we're mates. And then on top of that, our timelines aligned and I actually met her. What if she had been sent to another planet? Wait, I can't allow myself to go down that line of thought because that means I have to acknowledge that there are over 2 planets with living beings on them. Nope, save that for another day, or better yet, another year. The transfer of education wasn't one-sided though. Since Georgia can't get on the plane with me, I had to buy her a cheap travel phone in the downstairs lobby, teach them all how to work a phone, and then teach them how to pull up maps and find me. Joanne seemed to catch on to the maps quickly, while Georgia spent an entire hour practicing calling me, so together I have faith that they have it handled and won't get lost. Other planes ease down the tarmac when my boarding group is finally called, and I send up one more prayer for the safety of my new little family to whoever's listening. It's amazing the amount of protection and responsibility I feel for a woman I met less than 24 hours ago. We talked about it after the guys left. "I'm sorry," she whispered in the dark. We were lying in the bed of my hotel room, Georgia the little spoon to my big, and each of us sticking one foot out of the covers on our respective sides. "Sorry for what?" I asked, and eased back her shoulders so she could face me. "What's wrong?" "I can feel your disdain, your disappointment in me. You don't want me as a mate. You're scared of me." "What do you mean?" I didn't realize my emotions would be so strong for her and yet so unclear. A mate should be both bonded and loved, but you don't even know me. How could you love me? You can't want this bond, especially when it's with someone too cowardly to bond back. You don't know me either, Georgia, but I'm just as willing to get to know you as you are me. Aliens, exploding planets, mating bonds. This is a lot to take in, but that doesn't make it wrong. I bit you, Georgia. Without knowing you were my mate, without knowing anything about mating bites, that has to mean something. I know it does. Yeah, it means you're stuck with me, she argued. I'm a beta. I'm basically useless for everything that matters. I can't fight, can't track well. I'll only disappoint you. I swear I could feel her emotions with the overwhelming guilt and desolation rolling off of her in waves. She could feel my emotions, but not read my mind, and I tried to explain that to her. No, Georgia. No, mate. I had her attention then. You will not disappoint me. I don't need you to hunt or track. You don't even have to do it for yourself unless you want to. You're with me now, in a human body, in a human world. Your pack status only has to mean something to you if you want it to. And if you don't like the fact that you're a beta, we can shove it in a box called Things We Don't Think About and let it be. Georgia rolled onto her stomach and dropped her head onto the pillow beneath her. She lay still for a moment before she turned back to me and whispered, I don't know who I to be if I'm not a beta. I bit my lip, coasting my hand over her hair and letting out a sigh, trying to see things from her perspective. Reinventing yourself in an unknown world had to be overwhelming for her, especially when the only family she'd ever known, toxic or not, was still presumably asleep while she was out gallivanting with a mate she'd never thought she'd have. You don't have to know who you are or how to be right now. Just make one choice at a time, and pretty soon you'll fall in love with who you already are. Georgia gave me another one of her soft smiles. But you're still scared, though. I had to smile at her. She was right. I leaned over to kiss her forehead and pull her closer. I mean, sure, I'm a little scared, but only because your best friend is a dragon. I whispered the last bit conspiratorially at her and looked around as if he might have been hidden in the shadows, which earned me a little giggle. I'm scared because I don't know how to protect you. The disdain I have is for a society that already doesn't accept certain humans. How will you possibly be happy here? How will you be happy with me? I didn't mean to be so vulnerable with her, but it just all tumbled out. Must have been a good thing, though, because she said, I'll always be happy with you, Lance. Mates aren't just happenstance. Whatever comes our way, we're built to tackle it together. And, if nothing else, I proved her claim to be true with my next and possibly weakest one-liner yet. You know what else we can tackle? Thank God for a kind and benevolent mate, because she didn't even respond, just swung her leg over and kept me up until checkout. The first thing I do when I land is turn airplane mode off and call Georgia, but they must be flying right now because it goes straight to voicemail. A few moments later, I get check-in text with a photo of Frank and Joanne standing in front of the Las Vegas High Roller. In the photo, Frank gives a wide smile while Joanne stares at the camera apathetically. Max had calculated that he would need to take at least one break, so hopefully that will be all he needs and they'll be here soon. The entire drive home from the airport, I think about what I need to do to prepare for their arrival. The one thing, or person, I hadn't considered made herself at home while I was away. I already deleted her 28 voicemails without listening to them after calling my parents while waiting at backcheck. Now I'm wishing I listened, if for nothing else than to prepare myself for what I currently see. Letters stacked on the counter, rose petals on the floor. She has a welcome home poster taped to the wall. She even cleaned out my fridge. Although I'm grateful for her ridding me of the great boulder, or moldy, as I called him, this has to stop. My mate will be here soon, and while I haven't known her that long, she doesn't seem like the type to laugh off something like this. The only mercy is that Mary isn't here. The next 25 minutes are a blur. Washing laundry, sweeping, mopping, and basically doing anything I can to rid my home of Mary's presence and smell. I throw the last load in when I decide it's time to confront her face to face before the gang gets here. Even though I plan and rehearse what I'm going to say the entire time I walk out over to the bakery, I'm still nervous when I pass through the door. I give a few townspeople a nod, but don't have to look any further because Mary's already spotted me. "Welcome home," she says, tucking her pen into her hair. "Did you like your surprises?" "See, that's exactly why I'm here," I start, but second guess myself. Should I really be giving her the 5th degree in the middle of her workplace? Can we go somewhere quiet? I immediately regret asking when I see the brief gleam in her eye. "Lance, you know I'm never quiet." "Mary, really, it's important." That must get through to her because she straightens her posture. "Sure," she says in a small voice, already turning to lead the way. We end up taking a side door that leads back outside by the dumpsters. "What is it?" she asks as she turns back to me. Now I see why she flipped her script. The tears in her eyes have stopped an entire conversation between us, but it can't happen this time. My mate's happiness, my happiness, and frankly, Mary's safety depend on it. "Mary, we've been through this before, but I really need to stress this to you. We're over." "Yeah, but Mary, you broke up with me, remember? I'm the boring guy who wants to paint and connect to community instead of getting a real job." "Okay, but I didn't really..." "Yes, Mary, you did mean it that way. And that's okay, because it's the honest truth. And if we stretch our honesty a little bit further, I think you'll find that boredom may be what's motivating you now." "Don't give me that face, Mary." I reach to grab her hands in mine because I just can't bear to look at those tears any longer. "This is the same song and dance we've been doing for the last 3 months. We're no longer together. You have to give me space. Please don't come by my house again unless you're invited." I wait for her to give me the usual, "But you said your door would always be open," retort, but instead she surprises me with downcast eyes. "Okay," she says, and lets go of my hands. Okay. Well, I'll see you around then, Mary." "Yeah," she says softly before I turn down the alley and out onto the main street. As much as I want to believe that she's finally come to her senses, an idea spikes as I pass the hardware store. Hopefully I've got enough time to change a lock or two before my little Wolfie gets home.